Okay. Um, so welcome to my video review of Tyler Perry's A Fall from Grace. This is probably going to be the shortest video, or one of the shortest videos that I will ever do. I don't have much to say about the movie. I intentionally wasn't really gonna watch it because it didn't seem like my thing, but everybody that I knew was talking about it, and they even had like one of my close friends like, "Are you gonna watch the movie? Like, please," because she wanted to talk to me about it. So I, finally had a chance to look at it yesterday, and yeah. So here's the problem that I have with this movie. It's boring. All right, like forget any of the problems with it, the horrible, makeup and hair, which we'll talk about later, the cinematography, if that's what you want to call it, the lines, the acting. This movie's biggest flaw is that it is boring. 15 minutes into it, I'm actually looking at the how many minutes left because I'm just trying to figure out like how much longer I'm gonna have to endure this. I could have taken it if it was just spectacularly funny or entertaining, at least if it would have gave me something. But I've seen Lifetime movies that were more enjoyable than this. It's really okay. So let's just sort of get into the plot. So the plot centers around this woman named Grace, who is on trial for the murder of her husband. So now Grace has the misfortune of getting the most whiniest, the most incompetent, in my opinion, the most unlikable, and the oldest looking 26-year-old lawyer from that there is. Okay. She has this boss played by Tyler Perry who just wants to plead the case out, because apparently the city, they have no money. And so there's no money for a trial really. They don't want to waste money on a trial. So she's just always a plea. She's a pleader. She went to the district attorney's office because I don't know. She thought she could make a difference, but she found out that it was a bunch of killers and thieves and child molesters and other things that you sort of already know before going into that job. But she's so disheartened by it that she doesn't want to be a lawyer anymore. She spends a lot of time crying on the shoulder of her husband, who, by the way, is a Keystone Cop. Not a great cop, so I guess they're a perfect match. And just whining about her situation. Just and he keeps telling her, you were born to be a lawyer. Was she though? Was she really born to be a lawyer? Because I'm not sure. So anyway, she's gonna, plead. That's what she's gonna do. But then the more she talks to Grace, the more she starts to get a feeling that maybe Grace is innocent. So anyway, Grace starts to tell her the story of how she meets this, she's newly divorced. Her son has married and moved on. She's lonely. She has a friend played by Phylicia Rashad who encourages her to go out and date. She takes her advice. She goes out. She meets this guy who's a lot younger than her. They have a world romance. They fall in love. They get married. And just as you can imagine, out the blue, home dude turns out to not be what he says he's going to be. He turns out to be a criminal who, has able to do stuff like get into her bank accounts because she works at a bank and steal money from her clients and refinance her house without her knowing it. He goes from a sweet guy to a guy that's like bringing his mistresses in the house and telling her he's not going nowhere. And it's just, and she, for some reason, she just takes it. Like there's this one scene where she's just trying to figure out like what happened and how somebody was able to like I guess get her passwords and steal her money and refinance her house, and she finds that there's a video footage of her husband doing all this stuff. So instead of turning the video footage of her husband into the police so that she could clear her name, she just decides to confront him with it. She just confronts him with it, and she just deals with this stuff. And she keeps asking for her money back, even though there's no way she's gonna get it. And the guy, her boss told her, you have 24 hours to, give us our money back, or you're gonna go to jail. I'm pretty sure that it was more than 24 hours of the course of her finding out what her husband did, and she still hadn't gone to jail, and she still hadn't done anything to make sure that she didn't go to jail. So I don't know. Anyway, long story short, she reaches her limits and she picks up a baseball bat and she beats the crap out of home dude. She throws his body down in the basement and the body disappears. Okay, so that's why she thinks she did it. The lawyer decides that even though she's confessed, even though they have the bat, even though there's blood everywhere, and there was blood everywhere, that she can still make the case that there was no murder because there was no body. I'm not a lawyer. Everything I know about the law pretty much comes from TV, but even I don't really think that's a great defense. So, of course, they go to trial, and Tyler Perry's in this, and he's, again, he's telling her, don't go to trial, you're going to lose. And so, of course, she loses. So, one of the reasons why she loses, too, is because Phylicia Rashad, who's her best friend, reluctantly gets up and testifies that Grace had said, I killed him, right? And so there you go, there's a smoking gun. So, she goes to jail, and everybody's, she's found guilty and everybody's downtrodden. But here's the twist. All right. It turns out that he really isn't dead. He really isn't dead. He's alive. And he's been scheming with Phylicia Rashad, who is his mama, in order to take Grace for everything that she is worth. Okay. Lawyer girl figures this out. Of course, at the very end, she's going to go see Phylicia Rashad's character. I can't remember her name. Doesn't even matter. Because she knows she feels guilty about testifying or whatever. And that's when when she gets into the lady's house, that's when she figures it out. She's held hostage by the scheming husband, and she's rescued by her husband in the end, and Grace is found out guilty, and they live happily ever after. Okay, that's basically it. So let's break this movie down a little bit, okay, into, the plot. So at the beginning of the movie, cop boy, we're going to call him that, cop husband, there's an old lady who commits suicide. She commits suicide. And she's like, I don't have anything left. She commits suicide. So if you're in a house and they're inside the house, they're upstairs in the window where she commits suicide, and somebody commits suicide, you don't do any investigation of the house. You don't look around the house. You don't see what's going on, even if it is a suicide, how the lady was living, who was taking care of the lady, nothing. We're going to come back to that later, okay? So meanwhile, the way that she fell in love with the guy, I guess if she's lonely, is sort of believable. But like I said, it's really boring and like cliche, okay? And then you get to the part where, at the end, when the big reveal that Phylicia Rashad is evil, not only is she evil, not only is she scheming with her husband, but apparently she's kidnapped a whole bunch of old women. We don't know how, we don't know where. She's keeping them in the basement, chained up, to steal, I guess, her social security checks or whatever. Which comes back to my point in the first movie, that first 5 minutes of the movie. Keystone Cop didn't recognize that the house that he was dropping his wife at was the house of the lady that committed suicide. All right? And he was in that house, and then all these women were in the basement, moaning and groaning, and you didn't find them? They weren't in a secret room anywhere. They weren't in a secret capacity. They were literally in the basement. All you have to do was walk down. Okay. All right. But he's not that great of a cop. So let's get into the characters, okay, since we're there. Grace, she's, a downtrodden woman. She's depressed. She's in jail. Her life is going to pop. Lawyer girl, again, whiny, complainy. I guess she's on a mission to prove that she could be a lawyer, even though she's not a very good one. Officer Krumsky, he does things like support her in her whininess. But he's not the great at his job either. There's this one scene where he's arresting a guy. He handcuffs him, has him on the seat of the car, on the hood of the car. He gets information that his wife will be in trouble, and he just leaves the guy there and says, just wait here. I guess he don't even say just wait here. He just leaves the guy there. Not to be outdone by, in the end of the movie, when he breaks into the house to rescue his wife, handcuffs Phylicia Rashad, not to a table, not to a chair, don't put her in the car, secure her, nothing. Just leaves her in the living room to go downstairs and rescue his wife. And of course, she's just gonna just stay there patiently, waiting for her to come. Okay. Of course, that's not what happens. She ends up escaping, of course. And at the end of the movie, we see her getting another job, working at an older for an older woman. And this brings me back to my thing. What year was this movie made in? I mean, the hairstyle makes it look like it's 1985 in the cars or whatever, so I'm not sure. This is a huge story, right? You just busted this huge racket of kidnapped women who apparently nobody's ever tried to find them or whatever. It would be all over the news. It would be national news. She wouldn't be able just to get a new identity like that. Not in 2020. Okay. So Grace is found not guilty of killing her husband. She tried to kill her husband, okay? She took that baseball bat and beat the crap out of him. There was blood everywhere. There was blood all over the house. And when we see him next, he has a bandage over his head and 2 black eyes. I think where you going with this, and I know this review is all over the place because this movie was just... So she should at least go to jail for attempted murder. I mean, don't get me wrong. Homie was slime. He was trash. He was scum. I understand exactly why she did it. But she did it. She did it, and then she tried to cover it up. I mean, it's just a happy coincidence, I guess, that she has no strength, upper body strength, and I guess he just bleeds so easily that it just so happens that he's alive. Lucky her. Lucky her. Nothing about this movie makes sense. I heard he did this movie, then there's this, everybody, the hair and makeup is terrible. Look, here's the thing, okay? We deserve better than this. Point blank, bottom line. I know that Tyler Perry has like a niche audience and people love his movies and it is what it is. And I know that for a lot of us Black people, just to see ourselves in movies is enough, but it's not enough. We deserve quality movies. Like Netflix has movies that are being nominated for Academy Awards, all right? And then you got this that looks like it was like filmed on some type of old kind of Nokia like camera phone or something. Video footage. Old time video recorder would have recorded this better. The credits are terrible. The soundtrack is horrible. Like, why? Like, you have a whole studio. Like, you have a whole studio where you're supposed to be making quality films, Black excellence. All right. And I'm not gonna even get into the writing because everything is not for everybody. I'm a writer, and Tyler Perry has managed to do what I could only dream of, to create things that millions of people consume and talk about, love it or hate it. Okay, he's got props for that. I'm not gonna talk about the man's writing because again, everybody's taste is different in writing and everything is not for everybody. But I will talk about the quality of the product that he's producing. Okay, this is the worst thing that he's ever produced, and it's just ridiculous. Okay, it is a shame that you would have the caliber of actresses like Phylicia Rashad and Cicely Tyson and give them this script and put them in this movie. All right, it's a crime. They deserve better. Okay, and the whole thing about Black people wanting to make our own films and to see ourselves is we want to see good quality films. Like I talked about Lifetime movies being better. I've seen old school independent films that look better than this. There's no excuse. It's no excuse. Give us quality films. I just, all you've proven with this is that you can just put out the crappiest of the crappiest things, and you and Netflix are gonna get your clicks and your views and your money because we'll just watch anything. So why even bother like giving us like anything else? You know? I just you know, I just can't. So you know, that's pretty much all I want to say about it. You know, you know, Tyler Perry, his work for me is hit and miss. You know, most of his stuff I don't like. I do have issues with the fact that he's always talking about real important world things like domestic violence, cheating, HIV, health issues, and stuff that he's not very knowledgeable about. And I don't think he talks about it in the most responsible ways or gives the most responsible messages. Okay. But again, some of his movies I enjoy. You know, it is what it is. But again, do better. We deserve better. You know, I think you said somewhere that you know your audience, you know what your audience likes, and yeah, there's a niche audience that no matter what you put out, you're gonna like. But it's okay to challenge them. You know, it's okay to give them more than what they expect, and you know, it's okay. You know, to you know, do better. You know, please, just do better. That's all I have to say about this. You know, yeah. If you like this video and my ramblings, you know, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.